So last time we were talking about the Dickinson draft of the Articles of Confederation and continuing the differences between the radical and conservative factions. And this quote by Dr. Thomas Burke indicated the greatest critique, the spirit of the greatest critique to the conservative Dickinson draft that of the Articles of Confederation that would have left few powers to the states, even though it was significantly less power than the future of the Constitution. Thomas Burke gives a radical critique to this, arguing that trusting unlimited power safely to anyone is not wise, whether they're British, American, or someone else. That governmental power must be limited. And he recognized the tendency of power in human hands to have an irresistible propensity to increase desire for itself, meaning an insatiable hunger that power has to try to expand, even though it previously existed within certain limits. He desired that the Congress, the power that the Congress have, be accurately defined, be very precise in the document that would be the contract that the states would sign, so that it could not be altered through interpretation, and that he wanted adequate check provided, meaning that there was something balancing out, checking power from getting beyond certain times. And so he says that power is likely to be abused at any time unless men are well watched and checked by something they cannot remove when they please. Meaning, if power in government, or anywhere for that matter, can exist within limits, but then choose under certain circumstances without accountability and consequences to move beyond those limits, then there will always be some sort of excuse, whether it's an emergency, a war, some sort of crisis situation, that those in power, whether well-meaning or ill-meaning, will find to use to expand power. And once that happens, it's very unlikely that it returns to the well-defined limits that it was before. So Burke gave one of the major critiques to the Dickinson draft, and he also warned that the Articles of Confederation were being used to get the states and the people to give up power to a new central government under the emergency of a war. So the war pressure, he was warning them not to give up liberty even to an American government, because the principle of the radicals was that governmental power in human hands, plus governmental authority, can be very dangerous no matter who possesses it, and that replacing large central government abroad with large central government at home would be the issue. It's not the issue of where and when and how. The issue for them is that issue of power. And he says that this was happening under the emergency of a war. So this tampered down some of the boldness of the earlier draft of the Articles of Confederation. Burke realized centralization in the Dickinson draft could be dangerous to liberty. And he also made an amendment to the document, which became Article 2 in the final Articles of Confederation. Dr. Thomas Burke contributes this key phrase in Article 2, which continues to recognize the power of the states, retains the power of the states, limits the government, does not allow it to become a modern nation state model. And also, as we'll see in later videos, Article 2 is one of the foremost examples moving forward for the later Constitution. It is an influence, almost word for word, on the 10th Amendment.